So, Julian, thanks a lot for being here with us. First question, how are you? Because many years now you are inside the embassy, so how are you on a personal level?
Well, I am 7 years detained without charge in this country in violation of 2 UN rulings, 5.5 of those years in this embassy with a siege of police and intelligence services that they have spent maybe £40 million on. All around. Yeah. So it's interesting.
Interesting is an interesting word. Yeah. All right. So first point is this one. There is a very hot topic here in Italy, but I would say worldwide, is the fake news topic. And in my opinion, of course, and I think in the opinion also of the audience, you know things that we don't know, and you know better than us the behind the scene of how the world is moving, how the information is moving. And about the fake news, I would like your opinion about the fact that today we have a lot of organizations worldwide spreading fake news, and you never know what's going on. I mean, are they influencing, the political campaigns? Are they influencing the business? What's going on? Can you help us understand better the situation?
I don't know. I stumbled across a quote by Thomas Jefferson last night, one of the early US presidents from 1807. And Thomas Jefferson is complaining about the fake news, and that no one can understand what's going on because of all the fake news. And he suggests that there should be a new newspaper split up into 4 different sections. First section being almost completely empty, this would be truths. And the last section very fat, and this would be lies. And so in some ways, fake news is not at all a new phenomenon. It's a very old phenomenon. And anyone who has been involved in a project which has been prominent in the news, I'm sure many people in this audience must have had that experience, will understand that while the very crude description of what has occurred, that you have started a business or you have launched a new product, might be accurate, everything else is not. So and we can look at examples such as the Iraq War to see actually mainstream media every day creates fake news and certainly hides a very great deal of true news. That said, is there a change? A little bit. But I think in hindsight he was right. He was concerned about fake information online because all the time people were trying to confuse Google search index with web pages that link to one place or another to rise up in the search rankings. And it was my view that fake information had been around for a long time in human societies, and human beings worked out how to detect lies. That we had some capacity to work out how to detect lies, and I didn't see that was changing so much. More true information presented, more false information presented, and some better ability to cross-check information. But actually, I think I have this answer to this question that he posed back in 2011. And the answer is that computers are getting smarter and human beings are remaining the same. And so the computational capacity to fool human beings is increasing. That's the key description. And as time goes by, we're going to reach, seems, a perfect capacity to fool human beings. And at this point, we can no longer tell what reality is at all anymore. Including, and of course included in that description of reality, is the capacity of artificial intelligence to generate fake news.
Yeah.
So if we can't see reality, we can't see anything in reality, and that includes the trajectory of this phenomenon. So at some point we reach a fake news apocalypse, if you like. But it's just, fake news is not really the correct description, but a fake information apocalypse, where human beings can no longer discern really anything about reality if a well-resourced AI organization like Google or Apple or Baidu, or their integrated supply network and customers, choose to move forward with a different description of the world.
How do you navigate this scenario? How do you, WikiLeaks, how do you check if an information is coming from a trustworthy source? How do you validate that information? How do you know that it's not been built with purpose to, change and distort the reality? What kind of suggestion could you give us to, understand what kind of source could be reliable and what kind of source is not reliable?
Well, so far, WikiLeaks has a 100% record in determining what's false and truth in the information it gets and it chooses to publish. So that's the best in the world. We can't do better than perfect. Might not be perfect forever, but at the moment we have a perfect record, which I'm pretty proud of. It's a slightly different problem. In the WikiLeaks case, we get very interesting looking information, and we spend a lot of resources in forensically analysing it, understanding it, connecting it to who might have produced it economically, understanding those people, investigating, etc. So that's a different problem than the problem that the average person has, or the average company has, in discerning a wide field of information, what's true, what's false. I am in some ways less concerned about fake news. Artificial intelligence will also bring ability to discern, in some ways, that wide field of information, as well as to produce it. So it's going to bring forth both of these phenomena. Artificial intelligence to determine truth from falsehood, and artificial intelligence to produce or mass falsehood. The problem in both these circumstances is the number of organizations in the world that can do both these things is rather limited. So it concentrates power about the perception of reality and the discernment of reality into just maybe four big companies in the world.
Yeah.
Now the narrative, which has really occurred as it really moved into high gear as a result of Donald Trump winning the US election, is that something must be done to stop fake news. Now, as I said, establishment fake news has always been there, and at tremendous cost. I don't think that there's a war in the 20th century started by a democracy that hasn't been started through lies. So Vietnam, the US involvement was started by a fabrication about the Gulf of Tonkin incident, fabrication that Vietnamese attacked an American boat. It was a lie. The Gulf War was largely facilitated by lies about Iraqi babies being killed in incubators. The Iraq War, famously, lies spread everywhere on front pages about there being weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, etc. But those were establishment lies. So they're acceptable. They're acceptable to existing ruling classes in the countries that push them. Now, what has occurred in the United States, and to a degree in some other places in Europe, is an outbreak of popularism. So an outbreak of popular forces, you might even say democratic forces, unruly democratic forces acting in an unexpected way. And this is absolutely fearful and intolerable to existing establishments. So they have placed pressure on organizations like Facebook and Google to stop facilitating these outbursts of popular activity. And that has produced, for example, a direct intervention in the French election by Facebook and Google, publicly announced that they were intervening in the French election to stop the spread of certain news. Now, of course, what that means is that you're constructing a censor, a body that determines what's good information, what's bad information, and changes the virality or the rankings. If information comes to you as a result of their organization interests. So the first door in mass manipulation has been cracked open at a cultural level and at a political level. So Facebook, Google, New York Times, Economist,
I think, Julian, it's the cultural point that I think is very interesting. And I would like to help us to understand this. After WikiLeaks revelations or Snowden about, CIA, NSA, and now we know that we are basically all hackable or all potentially controlled. Still, we use phone and this kind of things, we use all the platform, is okay, it's a very strange feeling. People should have stopped, to immediately to give their data away and say, look, privacy is important, I have nothing to hide, but why should you be able to control me? But this kind of movement or rebellion, it looks like it didn't come out, and we still keep going like nothing happened. What do we need to really change things? Even if we know the truth and how things are going, what do we need to do to make a real change about that?
Well, mass surveillance is carried out by really just sort of two types of organizations. One is intelligence services, and amongst those, we're really just talking about the National Security Agency on a global scale, aided a little bit by Britain's GCHQ. And at national levels, there's a number of other intelligence agencies involved. So within China, for example, extensive Chinese surveillance. And by Google, Facebook, Baidu, Tencent, etc. Now, the large computational organizations are, in fact, at least according to the Edward Snowden information, collecting more information than the intelligence services are. Considerably more information they collect ends up being used to write intelligence analysis. However, the intelligence service, the US intelligence services, also stick their fangs into Google and Facebook, etc. So it's quite a complex dilemma. So we're all aware of the understanding that the National Security Agency is essentially collecting everything that flows across borders. And I think why most people are not too concerned about that is, first of all, it's a description of the invisible. It's effectively a claim that there exists a new God, and this new God can see everything that you do all the time. It knows where you are, where you're moving, what you're thinking, and it has certain interests in what you're doing. But it's a simple claim. People are always claiming that there's a new God. We don't believe them until we actually see it ourselves. But there isn't the other aspect is, it's obviously a different case for me, because I do physically perceive it. But the average person, the average businessman said, well, I have some business rival. But there's many people in the world, and surely the National Security Agency in Bahrain has got its hands full with ISIS and Al-Qaeda and WikiLeaks and a few states. They don't have time for me. That's a misperception. It used to be correct. It's changing now because of the AI-ization of understanding of mass surveillance. We're moving from a regime of essentially intercepting everything and doing some crude analysis on everything. And then human beings coming in at information that was ranked to be very high, and then understanding it in detail, making plans, resourcing plans and acting. Okay. And obviously you can see at the understanding, resourcing and acting level, you have a small number of people involved. And therefore, although perhaps 50% of each individual's actions on the internet are intercepted in one way or another by the National Security Agency or its allies, which feed it information, you're not going to be the subject of their actions because their ability to ultimately process that information, act upon it, is so low. That's changing. It's changing as a result of what Google, Facebook, Baidu, etc. are doing, which is using AIs to understand en masse, actually understand it at a much more sophisticated level and plan.
Got it.
So that's where we're going. The adoption by large national security agencies of the technology that has been built by AI companies and integrating that together.
And used for their purposes. Julian, we finish our time. Can we have 2 more minutes of your time? I have 2 curiosity questions to ask you.
Sure.
Number 1, do you know anything about Italy that we should know? Because you never know, maybe you know things that we don't know. If there's anything particular, maybe it would be interesting to know.
I mean, go with.
No! Allo, you're back.
Have Asians.
Wait.
Have a mini country.
Wait, it's coming back. It was the most interesting point, it froze exactly there.
Yeah. We have publications for many countries. We often have publications that, about, say, an organization that is involved in many different countries. So we have a couple of those, and yes, Italy is one of the countries involved.
Okay, good. Well, you don't tell us what, but it's okay. We'll discover it on WikiLeaks soon. Very good. And what's next for you, Julian? I mean, in 5 years, what is, if you have a plan, what do you think is going to happen, and what would you like to happen?
Well, for me personally, I mean, it's just a matter of politics. So I've won twice at the UN now. I have no formally public pronounced charges being detained without charge. There's a very interesting political legal situation in the United States. They formally say that there's a grand jury. It's started under Obama. It's continued under Trump. It's been actually expanded slightly under Trump. And there's some issues in the UK. I think at a strategic level, things are quite good for me and WikiLeaks, in that a lot of things that we've been saying have been borne out in the world, and yeah, we've won all the court cases that we've taken or that others have taken against us. So that's quite good. I mean, WikiLeaks as an organisation is also we're involved in Bitcoin and smart contracts very early on, so it's quite bizarre every day to see that, just to see how WikiLeaks has grown in economic strength so much as a result of the illegal US banking blockade that was launched against us in 2011. So it is a direct result of that illegal blockade that caused us to invest in Bitcoin that has caused the economic strength of WikiLeaks today.
Interesting. Very good. We arrived at the end. Julian, good luck for everything, and a big bye from Italy.